If you watch this video until the very end, you'll gain a comprehensive understanding of anxiety that you'll be able to completely transform your life with. A template for healing and releasing many lifetimes worth of fear and anxiety within yourself, the ability to help others understand and transform and heal their fears and anxieties. I've been helping people transform their anxiety for several years now, and I've also experienced maybe some of the worst anxiety that there is to experience, and engaged in several transformative processes to help heal and release my own anxiety. So I know what I'm talking about here. The video is divided into 8 steps, and if you absorb all of them, they each build on each other to allow you to completely transform. Step 1. What is anxiety made of? This step is about understanding the components of anxiety at first a biological, then an experiential level. Why is this the first and most important thing? Demystification. Fear and uncertainty around what you're experiencing can exacerbate anxiety. By understanding its components and origins, you demystify the experience, making it less intimidating. Objectification. Your thoughts and feelings around anxiety can get abstract and confusing or personal. When you see it on an objective level and boil anxiety down to its most basic components, rather than getting absorbed in more abstract or confusing thoughts about it, you see it for what it basically is, which means you can release and transform it a lot easier. So, what is anxiety made of on a biological level? In the brain, the amygdala, often called the fear center of the brain, it assesses potential threats, and if one is perceived, it triggers other parts of the brain and body to react. When you're experiencing unnecessary anxiety, it's triggering and firing inappropriately when you don't want it to. Also, when anxiety is active, another part of the brain, the hippocampus, processes and recalls memories of past threats, often intensifying the anxiety response by associating current stimuli with past fearful experiences. The nervous system. The human nervous system is divided into 2 branches: the sympathetic nervous system, or SNS, which triggers the fight, flight, or freeze response, and the parasympathetic nervous system, or PNS, which triggers the body's calming response. When anxiety is active, the sympathetic nervous system initiates the fight or flight response, increasing heart rate, reducing blood flow to major muscle groups, and to prepare the body for potential threats. The body. In the rest of the body, specific neurotransmitter levels and a cascade of hormones such as cortisol, adrenaline, and others affect the experience of anxiety. And so does the state of the muscles and how tense and tight they are. So, on a biological level, anxiety isn't just in your head, as some people say. Unnecessary fear and anxiety is the body being in a state that is inappropriate for the situation. What is anxiety on an experiential level? To overcome anxiety, it's even more essential to see it for what it is on an experiential level, without all our usual labels and concepts. Imagine you're a newborn baby and you have no knowledge of the body, mind, or the world. What is the totality of what constitutes anxiety? Thoughts, mental narrative, the inner voice that often says common what if thoughts like, what if I lose all my money? What if I get sick and die? These thoughts may not have any necessary reality, even if they seem very real at the time. Mental images, perhaps frightening images or images of imagined futures. Internal sensations, also called interoception, is the feeling of the body from the inside. With anxiety, uncomfortable sensations are present, perhaps a rapid heartbeat, tightness in the chest, dizziness, or sensations related to the emotional and physical body. But without these labels, is experienced simply as a field of bodily sensations. External perceptions, also called exteroception, the sense of sight, smell, hearing, etc. With anxiety, they may be heightened and more intense or disorientating. It's important to note that the content of the thoughts is highly affected by the state of the body. Have you noticed that when you have a calm body, you have a calm mind? In your conscious experience, thoughts, internal sensations, and external perceptions all appear in the same space of awareness. At a fundamental level, without layers or concepts, all there is awareness and what awareness is appearing as. It's all just one seamless field of awareness. Seeing it this way creates a level of detachment from the anxiety, which allows you to experience it without getting caught up in it as much, which leads to its faster resolution. Step 2. Facing anxiety head on. This step is about how to cure fears and anxieties by facing them head on. In 1, your thoughts, 2, your feelings, and 3, the external world. Thoughts. With anxiety, the content of thoughts can be abstract, confusing, or complex, but you can often boil them down to several basic what if thoughts about imagined futures that may or may not come true, and often don't. Common ones include, what if I fail or I'm not good enough? What if I'm unloved or end up alone? What if something bad happens to my loved ones? What if I lose control or go crazy? What if I get humiliated or embarrassed, run out of money, get sick or die? A way to dispel these anxious thoughts is to face them head on. If you simply tell yourself, it's probably not going to happen, or you try to console them with a soothing belief, it will work temporarily, but it doesn't get to the root of them. Instead, you can respond to these thoughts with, okay, what if? So what? Can I be sure that it will really be that bad? When you accept that you could experience these things, you no longer create more anxiety by being in resistance to them. And the anxiety starts to release and dissolve because you're not as attached and anxious about whether they happen or not. We can think that if we hold on to these thoughts and worry about them, we'll be able to protect ourselves better and make those situations less likely. But what usually ends up happening is you experiencing those thoughts on loop, creating more anxiety and less ability to avoid these situations or do anything about them. When you accept and allow them, you release them or grieve them and you calm down and you can think more clearly and with the ability to take effective action. You're free from thoughts about daunting possibilities controlling your life. Feelings. With anxiety, the feelings boil down to basic, raw sensations in the body. Instead of fearing these sensations and further tightening around them, face these sensations by experiencing them without labeling them. Experience them as they are, raw sensations appearing in your awareness. They may be highly uncomfortable, but they cannot harm or kill you. Practice developing the ability to experience the sensations you're experiencing just on their own. Just focus only on the raw sensations and not any thoughts about them. When you experience your feelings as raw sensations, they start to dissolve because instead of being re energized by more fearful thoughts, they are being experienced and processed in the safety of pure awareness. When you bypass all your thoughts about them being unpleasant or uncomfortable or scary and just experience them as raw sensations, even if they're intense, they're not as bad as you think. They're just intense energetic sensations. The external world. Things often seem overly stressful and anxiety inducing just before you do them, but once you start doing them, you often find that the uncomfortable feelings melt away, and the next thing you know, you're absorbed in what you're doing. People often think that being in a flow state is something that you just switch on, but it's actually often preceded with feelings of agitation and discomfort. This is your body turning on the functional stress response and giving you the adrenaline you need for the energy and alertness to do the activity you're approaching. Sometimes you just need to wade through some muddy waters to get to the clear ocean. Of course, keep your human body safe. Don't do things that are so risky that you might die, unless, of course, you're prepared to take that risk. But be intelligent and strategic where necessary, but take the risks. Most of the things we worry about doing won't harm or kill us, and in fact, will probably have the consequence of us learning something, getting an outcome that we want, or actually creating and living our dreams. Approach that guy or girl, go for that job, launch that business, make that call. Dispel the fear by facing it head on and doing what you know you need to do or what your heart is calling for. Step 3. Discovering your true nature is indestructible. I would still be in a state of almost constant anxiety if it wasn't for the message of non duality. Because for a lot of people, like me, just working on the level of the human person and trying to soothe and reconcile from that perspective doesn't go deep enough to get to the root of the fear, and so it will always come back. Non duality is the experience and understanding that you're not just a person, you're not just this human body in a world. The real you is so much more than that. You are infinite awareness. You are this whole experience. You're one with the whole universe, and all your worries and fears cannot ultimately harm you and are not ultimately real. To some, this can sound super deep or abstract, but non duality at its core and the way it addresses anxiety is actually extremely simple. Everything in your experience, every thought, feeling, sensation, and perception has changed and always will. But there's one thing that's never changed: the fact that you're aware. You could take away all of these things and take away all of your memories and everything you could ever experience, and nothing would be taken away from you. You would still be you, just pure awareness. This pure awareness or pure experiencing is the primary reality of who you really are. The experience of being a person with all your fears and worries is secondary and is only an appearance in pure awareness. Non duality has nothing to do with belief. The truth of non duality can only be experienced. It's experienced when you are aware of awareness itself, you are aware that this is who or what you essentially are, and you stabilize in knowing yourself as awareness long enough to see and experience its qualities. It's like zooming out 100% and fully opening the aperture of a camera and seeing the full view, seeing everything as it is, simply this pure open space of awareness. And when this happens, you begin to discover the qualities of your true nature. In relation to anxiety, one of the qualities of pure awareness, your true nature, is that it's unharmable and indestructible. When you investigate your true nature deep enough, you discover that everything you ever have and could experience, including the most fearful or painful feelings or the most frightening or intense experiences, have never harmed this pure awareness. It still remains itself in its pristine condition. The belief that this is true can certainly soothe anxiety, and there's nothing wrong with believing it. But what's much more powerful is actually experiencing it. By being aware of awareness, your true nature, and resting long enough like that to see its boundless and infinite and indestructible qualities revealed as an actual experience. Hey, before we move on, let me tell you about the transformative results many have achieved through my Awaken Aware program. If you're seeking freedom from fear, inner peace, and the tools to manifest your deepest desires, this is for you. With it, you'll find emotional freedom, overcome compulsive habits, and gain the clarity you need to shift to a brighter reality. Interested? Book a call now with me or one of my team at speaktoalex.com. Spots are limited. More details in the description below. Can't wait to see you on the call. Step 4. Anxiety as unexperienced feelings. The next essential understanding is that anxiety can be seen as unexperienced, uncomfortable feelings. Unexperienced feelings means unexplored, unexpressed, unprocessed, and unresolved feelings. A lot of time when we're experiencing anxiety, it's actually a cover for something else. A way to discover if this is the case is to ask yourself, instead of labeling it as anxiety or fear or being scared, what am I actually feeling? When you let go of resisting anxiety and get underneath the feeling of anxiety, you can often discover that what you're actually feeling is perhaps sadness or anger. And when you allow yourself to experience the sadness or anger, what you initially were experiencing as anxiety can go away. Sometimes feelings of anxiety are manifesting because you're not facing something else. It could be the experience of an emotion like sadness or anger. Or it could be something that the emotion is trying to tell you to do, like to take an action. It doesn't mean that you just react out of anger, but it might mean that that energy is present to propel you to do something about a situation, like remove yourself from a situation, draw a firm boundary, or say a firm no to someone. Many people, including myself, have found incredible relief from stress and anxiety by journaling out stuck emotions. Writing out your thoughts and feelings unjudgmentally can have the effect of processing, resolving them, and releasing them, which releases the anxiety that was a cover for them. And this is why I've released a free shadow work journaling mini ebook that you can download instantly for free. A link to that is in the description. Another important aspect to this is many people, including myself, have experienced trauma and the symptoms of trauma. Trauma isn't what happened to you, it's the state that your body and mind and nervous system get stuck in after what's happened to you. It could be one single big event that happened, or many small things that add up to a more complex trauma and can go completely unrecognized within yourself. With trauma, the body and the nervous system can be easily triggered or get stuck in an almost constant state of heightened alertness and intense, uncomfortable, or painful feelings. If you're experiencing constant or continuing anxiety, it's possible that you have trauma. Most of us have it on some kind of level. Whilst it doesn't define you or ultimately limit you, it's much like a physical injury. It's a nervous system and emotional injury. And just like physical injuries, sometimes they resolve on their own. Sometimes you need to do something about them and give them some care and attention to fully heal. Trauma healing can happen in a variety of different ways with a variety of different modalities. So seek help if this applies to you. But it starts with self love, understanding, and a willingness to experience where you got emotionally stuck within safety so that it can be resolved. Step 5: Physical reconditioning of anxiety. Through all the years of fear and trauma that we experience, it affects our body in numerous and profound ways. Some people's bodies are affected in highly significant ways that might not even be noticed. After you resolve and heal anxieties and traumas, you most probably also need to go through a process of physical reconditioning to reverse all the physical effects of years of stress and fear and all the emotions that were trapped in the body. If you're experiencing anxiety, physical reconditioning your body can be one of the most powerful ways of reducing it. Here are several components to the physical reconditioning of anxiety. Correct breathing. Years of stress and anxiety can often induce a deeply ingrained habit of chest breathing, breathing too fast, or breathing through your mouth. According to some current research, our resting breathing pace should be about 5 to 6 seconds in and 5 to 6 seconds out. Many of you are breathing way faster than that. If you're regularly breathing through your mouth instead of your nose, that is another recipe for anxiety, as it's incredibly damaging to the body and brain in the long term. Reverse this by consistently practicing slowing the breath down, breathing through the nose, and breathing in and out of the diaphragm. Undoing the habit of tensing. You may have got yourself into a habit of tensing up your body and muscles, sometimes almost constantly. Bringing your shoulders up towards your ears, perhaps, clenching your jaw, hunching over. They are some examples. Reverse these habits by notice when you're doing them and physically letting go and relaxing and correcting your posture. Stretching, yoga, and massage. Years of stress and anxiety can leave your body and muscles in a constant, tight, and tense state. These muscle tensions and muscle knots continue to fuel discomfort in the body and anxiety. And human bodies being in this state is seen as normal. Most people think it's normal for all of us to be tense and hunched over with terrible posture. I almost can't imagine what some people are experiencing without knowing it, like a fish in water. All you've known is the water because That's either all you've ever experienced or all you've experienced for a long time and you've forgotten what it feels like to feel normal. You probably need to do a consistent physical practice or to work out the tension and muscle knots all over and deep into your body so you can fully relax it. And when you do, you'll feel drastically better and find your experience of anxiety is much less. Posture. Along with poor sitting positions and constant phone usage, years of stress and anxiety can have us gradually and unconsciously work our bodies into a posture that bends and fuses our entire skeleton into a different shape that it's supposed to be naturally. I myself have a deep concave dent in my chest and a slightly deformed chest from unconsciously cowering over and hunching over my whole life, partially due to constant anxiety and childhood traumas. I had to go through a whole process of correcting my posture, and I'm working on it. But it's a wonderful thing because once you do, you feel so much better and so much less fearful. It takes some work, but it's worth it. Lifestyle. Years of stress and anxiety can have you slipping into destructive lifestyle habits like over-consuming drink and drugs, being on the wrong medications, not exercising, not getting the right nutrition or enough quality sleep. And whilst they're often habits formed as an attempt to relieve or escape from anxiety, they also can help to fuel it. So, part of the physical reconditioning of anxiety is aligning your habits and behaviors with a calmer, more peaceful you. The importance of community and support. We are infinite awareness, but right now, we're that having a human experience. Humans are inherently social creatures. Isolation and feelings of loneliness exacerbate anxiety and stress, so surrounding yourself with supportive and understanding individuals can be a game changer in your journey of healing and reconditioning. Being part of a community offers opportunities to share experiences, obtain advice, and realize that you're not alone in your challenges. Positive interactions with people can heal you. And if you feel you might need support from someone in the form of a friend, family member, coach, counselor, therapist, healer, or guide, do it. And don't forget, a few more slots have opened up for the free one-to-one to see if you'd be a good fit for the Awaken Aware program over at speaktoalex.com. And you can find more information about the program by following the link in the description. Peace.